Alright, truth time. I adjusted the mic intake on the other sections, and I didn't do it for the first section, and I was like, well, maybe I should actually do that. So the second section, I'm going to be like, hey, you might hear a difference. No, you're not going to hear a difference, because I decided to re-record a 30 to now 40-second thing. So anyways, welcome to the 41st episode of Rambling Weekly. Today we're going to talk about Summoning Knight's Gallant, basically the wild and wonky world of what the internet is nowadays, where person A expresses an opinion, person B doesn't like that opinion, so they get person C, D, R, F, Q, 9000, what have you, however many to dogpile on person A, because they did not like an opinion on something. We're going to talk a little bit about that, so let's do it. Welcome back. That song is from Knights of Round 4, and it is Flowering Night by Ogawa Phoenix. I think that's one of the many handles that Phoenix Project uses. Could be wrong, but there's another one for the list, if it is true. But yeah, so there'll be a lot of Dojin this time around. Also, you might be noticing a little bit of a difference with the audio here. For the longest time, I had forgotten that I had turned down the microphone reception for things through Audacity, and yeah, I had it turned really low because I'm like, how am I still only coming across really quiet compared to, and I was like, oh, okay, fixed it. And I turned it all the way up, and I was like, I was screaming into it. So hopefully this will be a little bit better. You can hear me at a normal voice instead of, why is he whispering? What dark secrets is he holding back? Kind of thing there. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I do have to be a little bit more contained. Can't be ridiculously over the top because it'll come across as ridiculously over the top, but blown out microphone style, and that's just not good for anybody. But yeah, how's everybody doing? You doing good? Doing well? I'm doing pretty fantastic. So job's going well, keeps me busy, keeps me active. I can't complain about it on that front. Kind of taking a little bit of a slide in doing some streaming. Part of it's because I've been trying to get some things situated on the home front and all that sort of fun jazz. I do want to start streaming like some other stuff that I have that is just not strictly on my computer. Like I have a capture device and stuff. I just need to finagle that into working and doing that. Plus I'm going to just revert to YouTube for streaming again, see how that goes, because I don't know, there were some things I had watched that like not in any sense of the word viable for long-term life living kind of thing, more of just seeing. I think it'd be easier just to stream at one place instead of, oh, here's something that I like to do and I like to just have fun with, but then, oh, well, I'm going to do it on Twitch, or I'm going to do it on, you know, these other miscellaneous places instead of just keeping it all centered here. Why do I have to make things overcomplicated? So I'm just going to start streaming on the YouTube channel, because why overcomplicate it? Like I said 2 or 3 times before. Yeah, hopefully I can kind of get back into that. I finally typed out the story I had written, the chapter I had written for the story, so I need to start getting into writing the next chapter. I really slowed down the last 5 to 6 weeks, unfortunately, and I've just... Part of it's me fiddle farting around, part of it was previous job, and then needing to decompress, and then new job. Yeah, I think I mentioned it before, but it is really weird having people who are very friendly. Not in the sense that the previous people I've worked with were unfriendly, but more of like just really, for the most part, warm and just kind of like, hey, how you doing? It's kind of odd for me. But yeah, that's that. What else has been going on? I Not too horribly much. I've been still going through Divinity Sin. It's still on Reaper's Coast because everything has to be like 2 or 3 levels stronger than me, and they are really, really barking up the wrong tree, making it mighty tough for me. Stupid scarecrows, stupid summoning. Like, I'm level 12, and everything just kills me. Not quite, but a lot of things do, and it's getting wildly annoying there. It's like, oh, I took care of the necromancing dog. That wasn't such a bad thing. I don't know, just like everything. There's death fog in places I can't explore. There's these, I keep on getting thwomped by these stupid oil void woken things. It is not being a friendly game right now. It is kicking my butt. So I don't know if I just, part of it I do know is I gotta re-gear characters and stuff and figure that out. It's slowly coming around. I will beat this game. Other than that, has anything been going on? Not really. I mean, they announced the stuff for Silent Hill. A bunch of stuff that was announced. Remake of Silent Hill 2, a new Silent Hill movie, and all sorts of stuff. I will say this. I'm one of those goofy goobers that actually likes the first one more than the second one. Part of it was because when I played the second one and where I played, or like the environment of which I played those 2 games were very different from one another. One I played at nights. My brother was there around as well. It was spooky. It was a very spooky game. And Silent Hill 2 I played during the day and would get just obnoxious comments from my dad. He certainly liked it. I mean, he still does, but he likes to do the whole Mystery Science Theater aspect for things, and I'm like, this is really taking me out of it. I really don't like this game. This game's, it's kind of an annoying thing to play when I'm getting the peanut gallery going behind. But that I've been fiddling a little bit with the keyboard. There's a couple possible, maybe not a couple, maybe one. Don't want to go too far ahead there. There might be a song in the horizon. I'm kind of fiddling with stuff, and I'm like, ooh, I like the sound of this. But what I like the sound on the computer and the keyboard does not necessarily mean it translates to a keyboard or computer, because I just do not have good talent with that. So, yeah, I think that's about the extent of it right now. It's been pretty chill, and I am very thankful for that. It's been very nice. So, for the topic, just to preface it right before we jump into the bumper and go into it and stuff, it is a Summoning Knights Gallant. I keep on saying Gallant. It's Gallant. Summoning Knights Gallant. I was looking through Twitter and stuff, and I seen this probably about 2 weeks ago or so. Actually, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to do this, and then I've been having other ideas, but then I've been trying to balance things and stuff, and it's just like, we'll get it out now. And I just don't get it. I don't get this at all. Anyways, we'll go into a bumper. Maybe the bumper will be enough time for me to figure this all out. That, and also probably just my camera. It might be, or camera, my mic. My mic might be a little too sensitive. And we'll go from there. So, yeah, be back. Welcome back. That tune there is Captain Murasa, and yeah, there's a piano variant. I mean, there's just a lot of variants of Toho music, but there's a piano variant of that song that I really, really like as well. Somewhere floating on YouTube, or at least it was a decade and some change ago. I really like it. That one there is done by Dark Phoenix, so I think most of the ones that I ended up picking for this one, unbeknownst to me, were just like, oh, I really like Phoenix Project. keep going. I don't think it's unfortunately the case anymore. I could be wrong, but it's a good tune. I like it a lot. But yeah, so like I was saying there in the pre-text, pre-bumper, I'm gonna bring up, because I took 2 screen caps of this, so I want to read them verbatim so that we can get the gist of this. Here is some random person, and this said random person is expressing, they write Twitter breakdowns on the Rings of Power, guest writer on the OneRing.net. I value truth and wholesomeness is what this, whatever. I, myself, do not care for the Rings of Power. I have not even seen any of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies in whole, I don't think, and I can't even read through the books. Like The Hobbit, I can stomach, but I can't do the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It bores me to tears. I'm just like, this is so boring. Why do I need to know about a tree in the forest 5 bajillion years after? It just does not work for me. I'm not. It's not me. It's not for me. Some people really like it, but it has been a bit of an annoying contention for some people, because some people are really, really, really big on it, and some people are not too keen on Amazon spending $1 billion, if not billion, a stupid amount of money to make this thing. And I know the first season just wrapped up, but that's about all I know, other than some people are grouchy. This is poopy, and some people are like, oh, this is really great. It's a TV show. What are we doing? Anyways, this is what they put. What I love about The Rings of Power is its incredible fidelity to what Tolkien wrote about the Second Age so far. Peoples, realms, and things with some, in brackets necessary, creative flourish. We're not given it all at once. We're made to enjoy it in bites. I have so much faith in the writers. Prayer hands. Like, this seems really innocuous, right? Like, somebody who's just like, I really like it. Sure, is it a little, maybe excessive in praise? I don't know. To me, it's similarly what you hear critics back in the day would say about a movie. Like, when they said that they didn't like a movie, they said they didn't like a movie, and then would throw daggers for words. To not be profane enough to use the bad words, but still profane enough in its imagery to be like, I really don't like this. This no good. This is very sour to the eyes. Like, so this person, very effusive with their praise, incredible fidelity for something. Okay, all right, sure, maybe. I'm not a Tolkien fan. Totally could be the case. But here's somebody just expressing some sort of attitude about a TV show, and me making the mistake that I do every not so often, but every day, is I decided to scroll down these comments, because that's the thing I do. I think things have gotten so silly that, because I used to be really into like conspiracy theories and stuff, not in the sense of like I believed them, but more of like, okay, somebody is saying that there are lizard people and all this sort of stuff. How did you get here? Like, what path did your brain trek to get to that point, to be like, yes, this is where I get off the ride. I've done my thinking. Let me unholster my backpack. I am planting my flag right here, and we're going with lizard people. Unfortunately, because of how silly real life has gotten, I can't enjoy those anymore, because everybody's just gone, not everybody of course, but the dialogue for it has gotten to the point where it's taken seriously in a way that's just not my jam. It's like, it's a conspiracy theory. It is my junk food for my brain, darn it. Stop making it the only meal. So I've had to turn to mild and ever so often slightly less mild takes on Twitter and opinions and blah 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 blah, and see how people react, because that's how I get, I don't talk to people. I don't socialize with people. I study them from afar, and about the only thing I got now is internet interactions to study because nobody ever talks to anybody anymore, so is claimed. If they do, it's always in the privacy of their own business. Here I'm just trying to like minding my own business by minding other people's business. I can't do it anymore. It's not fair. So I'm scrolling through these comments, and some people are like, I agree that it's quite good. Taking the timeline compression with a grain of salt, changes are required for TV. And then, that's at least one comment. And then I have a stretch of them, not so mean-spirited, but they're just like, I hope you're being sarcastic. Another one, I don't know anything about Tolkien lore, but there's no doubt it is a great show, beautifully filmed with some great characters and storytelling. To this one, apparently you have read writings from Tolkien that nobody ever read, and that contradict everything he wrote in the books available to the public. Yeah, me, I don't know. But then, this one in particular, because there is a subset of YouTube that I ever so often cast my eye towards and am more so perplexed to some degree how they still end up being a thing. And I don't know if it is just because of a conglomeration of people just being upset or just feeling like it's just not good, but then you have other, reviews are saying rave reviews. Like there's this odd dichotomy between critic review versus the everyday person review sort of thing. It's become very pronounced in the last handful of years. A lot of people will wave it away as just trolling and just downvoting and stuff. I've always been in the mindset and the camp of, if you don't like something, stop talking about it. I'll every now and again bring up that I dislike Final Fantasy V, but okay. I don't sit there and stew in my own juices about, oh my goodness, stupid X death and that stupid tree and the turtle and blah 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 blah. No, it's not even a part of my thing until I literally mention that, and then it pops up into my head. I'm like, no, but if you don't like it, just ignore it. Stop talking about it. The end. It is a TV show. It is not something, and I know I am probably more than likely preaching to the choir on a lot of this sort of stuff. You've probably heard me in one-on-one conversations, or just in general, or maybe even during streams, or just what have you, mentioning how this sort of attitude is really silly. But what gets to me is this attitude that some people have, like this individual here. So they read how somebody expresses their wonder and joy for this TV show as if it is come from God to just bless their spirits and have a good day on that. And just like the internet, somebody sees it and does not like said thing, they decide that they need to summon the squad of whoever. So somebody responds to this by going, guys, please, and then they at 4 other people, do your job. This subset of YouTube that I ever so often cast my eyes to is one where they rail on new Marvel movies, new comic books, and all this sort of stuff. And it just sort of boggles my mind. And it's not all of them from what I have seen. There's certainly some of them that it seems like they just get more and more miserable as time goes on, that they just become this curmudgeon. Some of them were just kind of like, I just don't like it. Blah, 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 blah. It was better with these old ones. And it's like, okay. They're at least being a little bit more, at least they have something to anchor themselves to. So they just don't slide into curmudgeonry, so to say. But I'm really confused as to why this is a thing. Back in the day, in the dark alleyways of internet channels and websites and stuff, I believe the phrase was, not your personal army. When did everybody become everybody else's personal army to go at them? And you see this as well, both in a supportive sense and as in a negative sense when it comes to K-bands, K-pop bands and stuff as well. You get a lot of the K-stands that are just very energetic, we'll say, about defending something or what have you. And why is this a thing? It is the internet. The internet is made for a few things. One, to be stupid on it, because that's the stupid, silly place to be. And real life is where you're supposed to be serious. And somehow we have flipped the rules. And I missed that meeting, and I know a lot of you probably did as well, if not all of you. But that is a meeting I missed. That we flipped the roles, and now internet is serious business, and everybody is there at the beck and call of other people to be summoned to fight these wars. And I am really confused as to why that's a thing. Maybe this is me being old, but this is not your personal army, dude. I don't know why. But then you have these subsets of YouTube that go like highly critical on it, and then they'll put out video upon video upon video railing on stuff. Or they might have a video where they're like, oh, this is really good. It becomes like a parasitic sort of thing where you need the one, you need to have it out there so that you have something to go. But then if that's your jam and stuff, you don't have really a way to transition away from that to like foster anything else. So it just becomes this like gaping pit of agony. It's like, what? Why get off the carousel ride? Like just instead it just turns into we're all being toy soldiers, and people get wound up, and then just sent out to destroy this person's opinion and feelings on something. They're like that. Like, are we at that point? Is that all this is nowadays? We just gotta tear everybody down and be like, no, they're wrong, they're stupid. Bleh. This is dumb because I know, because I've on page 376 of the Two Towers. I don't know, but I can't. I don't. Some people have that energy and that devotion for things. I don't have that. My brain functions kind of on autopilot. Like it goes well enough on its own. It doesn't need any more baggage. Like it's already at weight capacity. Like I can't afford to be like, oh yeah, let's start dropping some other stuff off. I'm trying to think. Let me look, because I'm kind of curious. What do I do? Is there anything that I own on Steam that I'm... what's that one game? Everhood. I streamed it a couple times, and I got to the ending, and I honestly didn't beat the final boss because I was like, this is just not for me. Like, this is more aggravating than anything. But do I do it? Like, I might mention it and then be on my way. I've not even thought about this game since then. Do people really latch onto this stuff to be like, even people my age? Like, I'm trying to think of another game on here that I have that's that I'm like kicking myself for having bought. Maybe to a much milder degree, Wargroove. I like Wargroove, but it could be a lot better, but that's okay. I do like the graphics. It's nice, like Game Boy Advance looking strat game graphics. Very smooth. I'm trying to see. But I mean, that's really like I can think of a couple, like from when I was super young, like Super Battle Tank. I absolutely loathe that game, but what also makes it even worse is that I spent my only $10 at the time to buy that game, and I thought it was trash, and then they wouldn't accept returns, and so I literally I put it in the sink and started running water over it, and then I was like, and then I don't even know if I dried it. I hope I dried it out, otherwise joke's on me for putting in the steps for ruining my Super Nintendo. But I remember after doing that, sometime trying to start it up to see, if we did our job, we broke the game. The game worked fine. It was still fine. If anything, that's kind of cool. Like, I don't know anything about the game other than I don't know how to play it, and it was really no. There was another one. What was the Jungle Strike for the Super Nintendo? Oh man, that game was awful. I couldn't get past the second level or something. You're going through, and if I remember correct, because you use a helicopter, and it's like an isometric, stationary isometric camera kind of thing. But that, or even just take things like Tolkien and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll rail on it there. Or Star Wars. Not a Star Wars fan. Just not my jam. But I remember how absolutely batty people got about the latest trilogy and the movies and stuff that have come out since. I'm just like, let people enjoy something. At that point, let them enjoy. Let them enjoy that. If you don't like that, I don't know. If you don't like that, either find something else that's like in the same vein that you enjoy, or start making your own thing. That's what's neat, at least from what I've seen from the outside, because I've not really ever played it. But that seems what's like really neat with something like D&D. Hell, take RPG Maker. sure, you're not really going to be getting all the attention and accolades because you used stock assets and all that sort of stuff. But in the same hand, if it's like something that maybe even a catharsis or just something that you enjoy, just go with it. Have fun with it. I don't understand this spring of negativity to be like, yes, it's trash. Okay, it's trash. I mean, like I don't know. And then too, like have the thought process of, oh, I see somebody who has this what I deem to be a ridiculous opinion on something. Let me now bring in the troops to really lay waste to them. And it's just like that's not gonna do anything. Hey, all it's gonna do is make the people who are like feel good about themselves because they really struck down some sort of, in their mind, some basic opinion on something, or just maybe a bit more glowy about something than what they think is appropriate. And then the other people are going to be like, wow, you guys are jerks. Really winning then. Like, but I guess that's what knights do, right? That's we've for the longest time we had it in our heads that they were shining armor and they were here to save the day, and really a lot of times they were kind of jerks and doing horrible things and being bullies. Not to say bullying isn't horrible, but bullying is probably on the lighter end of the horrible things that they accomplish. Much like human beings. Human beings have this wonderful capacity to do this sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being old, or just not as interested in that sort of thing. I know when I've like talked with some people at this new job and stuff, because a few of them like to play games and everything. I think two of them probably share a lot closer taste in games than I do to the other two. Just if you've seen any of my streams, a lot of some of the times it's kind of and it's not like I'm serious enough to to really get much better at them at some of the ones. So it's kind of like I'm in this weird. I just play games to have fun, right? At least I try. A lot of times I'm kind of like, I'm not having fun. I blame Contra. It's all Contra's fault. Never having fun playing Contra. It's such a mean game. Anyways, have a conversation about the different kind of games and stuff. One of them had mentioned that they just blitzed through Scorn. That just came out, and that was really a really tense 3-hour experience. To me, I'm thinking, wow, 3 hours, that's it? But if that's what somebody really enjoys, it's their money, it's their time. I can't just be like, well, that's trash, that's garbage, why are you doing that? I don't know. I started to try to slide into making a Bender voice, but then I was like, no, stop. And I was just like, and just let them kind of talk about what all that game entails and everything. It's like, okay, cool. I'm never going to play it, so all right. Yeah, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, they said this, well, I'll play it, and then I'll be like, no, this is trash, this is stupid, why are they doing this? This is blah, 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 blah. That's what gets to me, is like, why are these people spending their time? The one precious resource you don't really get to do much to be like, hey, I would like more of that. No, you get what you get. And, to be like, I'm going to sit here and watch this thing, and then I'm going to rail on it. And then I know in the same hand, I'm kind of doing the same thing, I guess, maybe, sort of. I guess that's just how it works. Maybe I've fallen into the trap. I've been snookered into it. I am now a part of the cyclone of hate. But yeah, more importantly, it's just like, whatever. I don't understand where people think that they need to rage these kind of ridiculous internet battles and then summon others and then just let people like or dislike something. And if you don't like it, and you can't find people to talk to who do like it, who will be willing to at least have a conversation, just drop it. Just let it. You will feel a whole lot lighter. The world will feel a whole lot brighter, to some degree, not because of the nuclear hellfire that we're about to be encased in, but things get a lot better. Let's switch back those roles where internet is silly land and real life is serious. Let's do that, because that might help prioritize some things. But what do I know? I'm just some simple goober. So that's all I got for this one. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll be back with the quote. So stick around. welcome back. That song there is Kuroi Umi ni Akaku, but legendary fish. Translation out for it is something like reddening in the Black Sea, or reddening in the Dark Sea kind of thing. Legendary fish. And that one there is also done by Dark Phoenix. So if I remember correctly, Phoenix Project would change the handle used so that it would match up to the style of music. But yeah, that or maybe some sort of compilation with somebody else might have helped. From what I remember was what was mentioned for why that's the case. So yeah. Anyways, the quote for today for this episode is going to be from Fyodor. I cannot say this person's name to save my life. Fyodor Dostoevsky. And that is, nothing is easier than to denounce the evildoer. Nothing is more difficult than to understand him. And I think that fits well with this, like, maybe evildoer's a little brazen in branding. That's kind of the mentality I take on a lot of things. I mean, it's really easy to just be like, this is stupid, why are you doing it? But then, to try to parse out why they may be doing it, so a lot of it is this vociferous, I really like Star Wars, or I really like Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing. Or it could just be for the simple fact that in doing so it makes them like a big following to then be able to make money and stuff. And that's not to say that is the case. That's just that's where my brain goes. It's like, okay, what could be the reason why they're doing this? Why exactly are they doing what they are doing? Sure, could that be a little Machiavellian to try to be like, let us decipher the exact mentality and reasoning behind why they're doing this thing, so then I can use that to my advantage one way or the other. I'm too lazy to do that. I am it's just not an interesting thing at that point. More than anything, it's the person who then, if anything, like that one's an easy one you can kind of rationale behind. They're just that passionate about it. But then that's where, if I was to pivot and be like, hey, parry, thrust, to borrow a very loosely quoted thing from Robin Hood Men in Tights, parry, thrust. I could be wrong on that. Anyways, like, you can at least myself, I can sidestep it and be like, hey, okay, that you're passionate about it, but if you're passionate about it, why are you trying to drag other people's enjoyment down on something that has nothing to do with them? Like, you're inviting yourself as a third party to that. And more importantly, if it's the show itself is not to your liking, or the movie or what have you, why aren't you then rising above that, instead of just taking that as it is and then being the end of it, but like taking the lessons learned and the enjoyment from that and then internalizing that and then retranslating that out as a new fresh thing. And it doesn't even have to be, look at Star Wars. Star Wars is not necessarily a fresh idea in the terms of like the plotting of it, but it has got it's got its own moxie and charisma to it, enough so that it stuck around as much as it has. And I don't know, it feels like that's where there's this receding, this cowering away from being out there in the open in that kind of regard. But maybe I'm wrong in thinking so. I don't know. More importantly, it's trying to understand the other person who's like, outside of just wanting to see sparks fly, why are you summoning these other people to quote unquote do their job? That's kind of the mindset that I'm like, I don't get it. It's the internet. Why? It's really hard to do, to try to figure that one out. Because it's easy to be like, stop. That's an easy thing to do. Stop that. The end. So I don't know, that's gonna be it for me today, but hopefully you had a good listen, and hopefully you can maybe somebody could tell me what I'm doing wrong and to try to figure that out. I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. Ooh. More importantly, I hope have a good day, good weekend, good week, all that sort of fun jazz. Fingers crossed. It's getting cold around here, and I think it's supposed to actually warm up for the weekend, but it, as was quoted many a times when that show was a big deal, winter is coming. So the song that we are going to listen out to, the outro for today, is going to be Mugen no Kane, and that is the It's Infinite Nightmare. So it's the uninterrupted bell, uninterrupted chime. I kind of like Infinite Nightmare. If that doesn't... it's just a cool song. And this one's done by Sync. And Sync, if I remember correctly, a lot of Sync's work and just the approach to making music is very layered. So it'll be like, oh, here's an instrument. Do, 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 do. And then they'll add in another instrument that's going like... I don't even know what I'm doing. Please do not... splice those two together to overlay them. I will be very mad. It might be really hilarious. Anyways, more importantly, he does a lot of the layering stuff, and it's, after a few bars, it'll add in another instrument, and then, until it's this fully realized thing. And that's a really cool approach to music. I know some people don't really care for it, but it can be super neato. And that's going to be it from me. So have a good one, and I'll catch you next week.